It's an after video today. I have the twin turbo done and ready to reveal in its magnificent clean glory. So let's see what it looks like now and how it works. Yes, hello my vacuum cleaner chums, how are you on what here is a very windy grey day? The twin turbo, which I think is going to have been the worst condition machine from Mr. James's lot, is done. It is spotless now. It was quite disgusting, but in the usual twin turbo / 500 way, they do get quite clogged up with various bits and bobs, and it's come up very nicely indeed. It now has, I haven't waxed this yet, it's now got a shine look. It's now all shiny, all clean. But basically and I'm going to jump straight into this, what you're going to want to hear is what it sounds like now. Because it now sounds like this. The top bearing was seized solid. Take my phone out because I keep catching it. So the motor's been apart. There was a brand new 608 ZZ bearing on it. And it's beautiful now. It works really, really well. I can't really test the suction because I don't have the hose, but if I stick my fingers up its rear end, it is most acceptable indeed, but we haven't quite finished it because the brush roll is looking decidedly bare and decidedly spinny, and there is nothing fitted in there. Yes, I know I shouldn't have put my phone there. We have to go through this bag of stuff and just finish it off. The last little bit. So let me get you closer and we'll have the brush roll off. Righty dokey skips. Well, I think I've actually pressed record slightly too early because, oh, there it is, I didn't have my screwdriver out already. So yes, we need to put some sort of brushing device onto the brush roll and a spinny doodah as well. Yes, I'm talking about the brushes and the belt. Mainly because I didn't actually take them home with me, so I forgot. Well, I didn't have them, I was putting it back together. Partly because obviously I thought you might like to see it happen. It will give a bit more content to this after video. So we'll lift up the now spotless base plate. If I just take the hose off, just to help out a little bit. Under there is now immaculate. I even buffed all of the screw heads. So it looked really, really nice, but the only thing I couldn't get clean, 100%, was in there, because the problem with the brush roll housing, especially on older vacs, is that it's not so much the dirt, it's the damage. It's been pounded with grit for literally decades. And this was in soak for about 4 days, and it still didn't come out, so unfortunately there's not much I can do about it. Now I do seem to have quite a lot of brush strips, and it looks like some have been ever so lightly used and some haven't, but they are both, I'll just try to line it up to my eyes, fairly identical. There isn't, it's very hard to quantify, but there is no word. So what I think I'll do, so James has a good set. I'm going to fit what looks like they've seen probably minutes of use. Not much use at all. I can't find a cloth. So we need that, this and that. So we'll have those 4 there. The rest can go back in the bag, and then at least he's got a nicer set to keep in his stash. I've got several sets of brushes, but luckily I don't have to dive into my stash right now. So they simply slide into there. You can just about still get brushes. Qualtex used to have them. I don't know if they still do. I do seem to remember them going out of stock when I had my count, but I think they're still flying around eBay slightly. You might get lucky, but that is much, much better. So we'll put the bearings in. The brush rod bearings, they were quite seized. I can't take them off, so they've basically just been soaked in oil for days at a time. And I can't hold the caps still enough to do that. The next thing we need to do is the belt. Now this is the belt that came off of it, and it's not actually, compared to the brand new one, that stretched. However, it's seen better days. Where is it? In there. So again, we have a brand new, again these are Qualtex belts. You can still get those quite easily. So we shall fit the brand new belt. It's a little bit fiddly with the motor housing in place, because the motor spindle is quite set, is set back a fair bit, but I really don't want to take the motor housing off, because that will be a pain and quite difficult to get back on. There we go, look, that's in there now. So in theory, we slip the belt over. This is going to be interesting, because I've got to try and the end caps go over the hood. There we go, there's one. There's the other, give it a good old spin. So even that belt looks a little bit long. Let's put the base plate back on so the brush rod doesn't jump out and damage anything. No, my luck, it will fly straight into my camera and smash it. Yeah, look, I've even buffed the heads of those screws. Always helps. It just sets it and finishes it off. An absolute treat. There we go. That's better. Fantastic. But we can't use it yet because there is no bags or filters. And the reason there are no bags or filters, I put the screw back in here so I didn't lose it. There we go. Is that despite my, I won't say assurances because we can all be wrong, these are the original filters and they have been washed and they aren't too bad. Not going to lie, they're not great, but if this was all you had, that would be more than usable. I mean, we got some here that I think are second hand as well that Mr. James gave. The one that came out of the machine is now slightly cleaner and smells new compared to the other one. So if it's all you've got, I would recommend washing it because it's fine, it's just stained with age. But again, I have two brand new ones here. They are pearly white and we're going to fit them just so I can say that I have done my job. Because while we got them, we can fit them. I would have no qualms in using that on my own machine, or if the owner didn't have any spares and we couldn't get them, they would be fine. I'm going to give them back to James just so he can use them. So that goes in there. And it's a little bit fiddly because you've now got to do up the screw. In fact, I'm going to make the screw poke out a little bit more so it lines up with its hole, because this bottom one is screwed in place. And that's why they never get changed. The amount of these, well, this one wasn't much better. The amount of these I've seen and had where this filter hasn't seen the light of day in decades. Again, especially some of the earlier 500s are now knocking on for 50 years old. There we go. This one gets bashed out occasionally because it just sits on the top. Like so. So we are now filtered up. But we're not bagged up. And I had a sudden realisation the other day, I don't have the sponge seal that should sit here to go around the bag. In fact, I've probably got the bags here. Hang on, because this is the pile of stuff from the unboxing videos. Oh, there it is. Must scan that in before I give it back. Here are the bags. And the problem is they rely on that seal there to stop the dirt just going straight around and out. Oh, here's a flipping bum. There was a genuine belt there. Oh well. It's got the other one fitted now. So yeah, unfortunately we can't use a genuine bag. So we are forced, by hand has been tied to HEPA flow it. Oh yes. We have been forced against our will to stick a HEPA flow bag on, and I'm going to sacrifice one of these pattern ones just because when we HEPA flow the other 500 I was a little bit worried about this, and apparently it's still okay. The person that had that 502, yeah, the 502 says it's working fine, it hasn't fallen off, but I was just a little bit paranoid. So my idea is try and push this, which isn't going to work. No, it's not going to work, is it? I was hoping to use that to almost hold the bag up like that. In fact, that might work, because yes, it will. It looks a bit rubbish, but the tube has opened it out. Let's see what happens. It's literally just to stop the bag dropping off without being noticed. That's opened up. I reckon that will be acceptable, personally, because the inner tube is going through and opening up the bottleneck there. So I think it's an acceptable, what's the word, compromise. That's it. It's all a compromise. There we go. So that's rubbish there. So we have one bag left, a belt, and many spare filters to go back to Mr. James, to add back to his stash. I think he just grabbed everything he had and said use what you need, so we'll give those back. We don't need the bonus cover, although it might come in handy, I suppose. I'll put that there. Put the bus strips back in. The old belt and the old bag there can go in the bin. Gosh, I think we're ready, and we can give this some test dirt. Well, I'm not going to put test dirt down, but we can use it. Unlike the DCO2 that we had, which I didn't want to because obviously it would have looked disgusting. This won't. So let's see what it's like on the carpet now. It works better on setting 2 than setting 1. That is much better. It's such a different sound to the ones with the beta bars, because obviously you haven't got the beta bar pounding at the carpet. You've just got a nice stiff brushing action. So there we go. It also sounds more higher pitched than the 500 series, and that is because the fan case is plastic as I discovered. So that's why it sounds a bit different. I also added, because I had it in the toolbox, just a clip. Actually from a Dyson, it's just a random Dyson one I had, just so that when it's in storage, the cable doesn't fall off, because that is a problem with these. You end up having to wrap it all around itself. But not on this one now. So, the Z522 is done. Ready to go back to its owner once I finish off the few machines left that I have got to do. So, very happy with this. This was probably the one that was in the worst condition, and it has come out absolutely superbly. So, thank you very much for watching. Do a little swirl, and I shall see you soon. Bye bye.